anyone who wants to view this as well. So we have Lorraine Cruz Carpenter with us from the environment. She's an environmental services specialist working on this project. And so she has a few updates for us first. And so Lorraine, if you want to share with us
Sure.
what you have for us.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of new updates, but just a couple things. We had around the hotel, the only thing we've really had in terms of reporting is an abandoned encampment at the creek area. So Creeks did post that, and I believe that came in late last week, and they had to give it the 72-hour notice. So it's going to be cleaned up here. Probably just got cleaned up. And then in terms of the bridge housing and cleanups, we have tomorrow, we have the Castillo Street cleanup, the southbound exit there at Caltrans. And we're cleaning up both sides. And we've been working with Emily on beds and availability. So we chose that location based on what's available. And that's a pretty large cleanup. It may even extend an extra day depending on where we land on Friday.
Okay.
And then, as you know, we're going to council on September 14th for an update.
All right. And then maybe Emily, with your, I'm not sure who's going to share from CityNet. Would that be you or Brad or Jessica? Okay, and then maybe you can cover the bed availability question too. Currently, as you go through new projects.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So right now, as of yesterday, we moved on to Site 3. And Site 3 was the Castillo, kind of behind that parking lot, and across from Route 1, all the way up to Haley Street. We have a very cool interactive map. And so we went to Site 3. We did 16 new intakes yesterday, and we didn't have enough beds. And so case managers went out asking everyone who was interested to double up, which they did. And so I'm very happy to report we have 54 clients at the Rose Garden right now, which is beyond any expectation that I had. So we're very proud of that number. 54 clients in 35 rooms. 9 of our rooms have pets. And so we're very happy with this, and the site is being managed very well. Last night was the first night where we had control of the entire site. All of the other guests have left, and it was silent. I got a good night's sleep last night. So I'm feeling good. I'm really proud of my case managers for all the hard work that they're doing. We're working towards getting people document ready. Over the past 2 weeks, what we've done is created forms for everyone to fill out so that clients are now taking charge of their own doc ready status, which has been really helpful and empowering to our clients. We're also working on getting our clients linked to emergency housing vouchers. 4 of the individuals are already connected to an emergency housing voucher pre-app, which means that their phone schedule will be coming up soon, and we'll know whether or not they actually qualified for that. We have 2 clients who actually saw 2 units, and so we're hoping that we'll be moving towards housing. Anything can fall through, but again, it's just showing that the needle is moving and we're moving in the right direction. And then in terms of any problems around the area, I feel like our security and the help of SBPD has been really great having their presence up on Upper State Street. And so we just wanted to thank them for helping us maintain the site and the area around the site.
Well, that's amazing, Emily and CityNet team. Great work. I would encourage everyone on your little screen to applaud or use a reaction of affirmation, because that is a huge amount. That's a huge effort. Thanks to the city and CityNet and all the partners for making that happen. Can you describe a little bit, Emily, as far as how much staff effort it's taking to surround these individuals with the care needed to get through the document ready process and to move toward housing?
Totally. So right now we have 2 full-time case managers who are plopped at the site at all times. People are coming in and out based on what their project assignments are, but there's always 2 case managers on site. It's taking us on average between 10 to 15 hours of case management per client to get them document ready. And this is including going to the DMV, providing that transportation, whether it's through Ubers, our vehicles, or bus tokens, getting their social security cards, and then also for disability verifications, it requires us to take them to their PCP, and now it can't be a telehealth call. So that's slowing up the line, but we're really happy that our clients are able to be connected to their medical providers. And then for homeless verifications, we have to be in collaboration with other entities who have known our clients for more than a year. In terms of landlord navigation, housing navigation, that takes a while. What we're finding a big barrier is there's all these vouchers coming out and not enough housing. And so if anyone knows community members who are looking to donate housing or landlords who are looking to participate in our program, they're really great landlord incentives out there. And so anytime we can ask for that, we will. Another really exciting thing is that some of our clients are finding employment. We have 2 clients who just received part-time jobs at the SB Bowl as security officers. And so that's really exciting. And again, I'll keep on asking for community members if anyone knows of areas for employment. We have people who can prune and do hedges, and they're doing that around the site. And so that's really great. And then in terms of just managing the food, we have 4 logistics coordinators and then 1 overnight staff. So there is city net staff on site at all times, and they're being fed 3 meals a day of really awesome food. One of my clients came up to me the other day and she said, you really should have taken before and after pictures of us, because you're seeing the changes in their faces. Everyone's filling out, their cheeks aren't so sullen. And it's been an incredible experience having started with these clients and seeing how they're progressing. And so, yeah, it's taking a lot of effort, but it's worth it.
So when it comes to, because I know there's other encampments still on the list, and it sounds like these hotel rooms are full. Can we speak briefly to what other options we might need to develop in the future moving forward for other folks?
So what we're doing is we're having conversations with those who are currently on site to see if we can get more people who originally moved in by themselves to double up.
Okay.
We have 1 client moving in with another client later today, which will free up 1 room. But what we did was we strategized the site order so that we picked the biggest one first. And then the next site, I think, only has 3 individuals, and the site after that only has maybe 1 or 2.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I was hoping that we could get everyone we could in, maybe see some movement into housing, free up a room, and then put 3 people in more easily than trying to get 16 in when we don't have enough. So hopefully that strategy will work.
Right. No, that's very helpful and smart information. So thank you for that. Are there any questions from anyone on the call? Or any comments from anyone on the call?
Just wow, it's really special to hear what's going on there. I know it's a lot of hard work, but congratulations on pulling this off. I mean, this is a feat that has not been done before here, and this is really special. Good work, Emily and team.
Hey, Jeff. The only comment I would make is a credit to the security that's been hired there. I think they're playing a big factor in some of the success with not having issues in the immediate area, at least on the site, and also seemingly minimal need for PD response, if at all, there. So I think that's a testament to the security, and then, like Robin said, the team effort, everything that's going into caring for the people there, not just simply putting them there and leaving them left attended, but likely the services and other meaningful things that are helping them progress. That's another aspect I just wanted to speak to.
I know that was something, and Brad's on the call, that Sydney was happy about having their own security, having control of the site themselves. So again, the fact that they're on this call, we're not getting complaints from the region, shows the success both of the model for the community and for the individuals we're trying to serve. So it really is an
And I have
opportunity.
to say the security's okay, actually, but it's Emily and Al. They are regulating things. Al is coming over from 1 to 3 a.m. So they have done an amazing job. As we have to, you know what it's like, Kenny, with security. We have to push them a little bit. But this team that we have is just amazing. And that's why we've been able to keep low police presence at the site.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And sort of lessons learned, what will we do next time, all these kind of, sort of real-time reflection questions, right? So obviously site control makes a huge difference on a model that works like this. I mean, it just does. It's been real difficult to sort of navigate when they have other guests coming. So we've gotten there. And I think sort of just continuing to say, like, we're committed to being a good neighbor, right? So, so calls like this where people can communicate, we have zero interest in sort of having negative impacts in the community, especially that we can be connected to resolving and or preventing. So I know that I've had some, just a couple, honestly, just sort of brief interactions with some neighbors. But it starts to get me thinking about, like, I know, kudos to the PD, not because they're being called out, but just proactively coming through the property and driving through. All of that helps, right? Because we're all working together here. So appreciate PD sort of prioritizing that to drive through the community, to drive through our parking lot even. We welcome that. We don't need a car parked there, and we don't, hopefully we'll never have to call you guys, but it just helps convey the partnership. Things like I'm wondering, because my wife gets her nails done like 3 doors down at one of the nail salons right there, and they so she talks to him about that, and somehow they found out I'm connected to her and she's connected to me, and that's that whole thing. It just gets me wondering some of the immediate impact areas as we continue to and I would put this under the fine tuning category. I would not put this under, like, the house is on fire category, but it makes me begin to wonder that maybe through the city, a partnership with the city, not just our staff. So this would be above and beyond us, but to the partnership sense, I wonder if we could start looking at some of the, the trespassing, do the local businesses have private property trespassing, those things. So when and if there are situations, and again, there have been a few items that have come up. The vast majority of those are not connected to our clients that are, our friends and guests at the Rose Garden. They're actually sort of pre-existing, and or others that are coming through. They're not connected to us, but it would be helpful so that we begin to continue to just sort of manage and mitigate and prevent neighborhood impacts. The creek clear out was super helpful because, again, those were not our clients. So I was thinking about that in terms of sort of the neighboring businesses, if there's a sort of just a no trespassing, just so they can have that on file. So not that we would, want to harass people for, being unhoused, but to the degree that they are in proximity to our program, there's too much at stake is kind of how I've been telling the neighbors. There's just way too much at stake and so much good that can come out of this that we don't want sort of outlying circumstances having a negative impact. So I don't know how we can do that. I don't know what the process is for that, but if we could start looking at some of those, particularly the nail salon business, that strip mall right there, that'd be helpful for me so that I can alleviate my wife's concerns.
So
Brad, that's a good question. That's a good conversation to actually have citywide. We just published something in the Montecito Journal asking the Coast Village businesses to start thinking that way, that there's major parking lots there as there are on Milpas. Those are private property, and any business owner, property owner can defend their private property rights at any time. Many are choosing not to, and you know, I think Kenny can appreciate this. You know, we've had conversations with them with SBPD, and their attitude has kind of been more of, well, can't SBPD just keep people off my property? No, that's not how this works. They also don't park in your driveway because you were too lazy to buy a burglar alarm. So, you know, I think, you know, we need to do a lot more to help private property owners understand that they have a role in this and a responsibility, and that they can choose to act on that at any time, but it's not fair to expect the city or any municipal agency to go around and take care of everything for you.
Yeah, and I think there's some creative things. I mean, we talked about this on our State Street calls. Again, this is, again, peripheral to this, but just to sort of, if anyone's listening to a call that's being recorded, I mean, the truth is we are committed to sort of the comprehensive impacts of the idea that people are living unhoused, right? So we get it. But even like environmental design and some of these sorts of things, if there's ways to access, you know, city grants to build fencing and just things that sort of, you know, or encourage landlords to sort of do some certain things from lighting or bushes or these sorts of things. I mean, all that makes a difference. And so as those issues come up in the surrounding blocks around the Rose Garden, we are equally committed to sort of being part of those solutions and working with the other stakeholders in the community. So that's it.
So thank you for those thoughts. I think you're right that on all of our regional action plan calls, we usually work with the city on environmental changes, on working with law enforcement, on things that individual businesses can do related to the help that they need. I think we could work that within the plan kind of for this wrap in the neighborhood, as far as I don't know what level of outreach we've done to direct businesses to make them aware specifically about this call. I don't know, Lieutenant Kushner, do you have any thoughts either, or Robin? I saw your hand raised.
I was just thinking that this could be an extension of this flyer or educational campaign that we're working on, that documentation for businesses. And so it might be just handing that and a little conversation about what's happening. And then the further conversation, if they want to follow up with it, would be in that flyer, so that they know, you know, these are the types of things that are going on. And if you want to be part of the conversation, these are the ways, and these are also ways you can help individuals experiencing homelessness. So something about that could be helpful as a flyer to give the nail salon or anyone in that plaza that is curious about what's going on. And so they have something that stays with them when something might come up. They can look through and see who to call.
Yeah, we do have a September, I believe it's September 1st at 1 p.m. meeting to discuss the development of that, who to call, when to call, what to say document. That's going to be a citywide document. So that could be something, I mean, I hope we have enough information by the end of, my goal is end of October, that thing's finalized. I know it's got to go through multiple iterations, but so I think that's a good plan too. Lieutenant Kushner, any thoughts for this community about what we could do?
I agree with what Robin said, the proactive outreach, you know, handing out the information, and I hear what Brad's referencing. I have had some community concern feedback about unintended consequences, and people that aren't staying at the Rose Garden Inn, but perhaps have heard about it and have, spent time in the general area. So those are indirect impacts that have been voiced. And that's something we're mindful of. That's something that, officers responding to calls, if a business is feeling a change, for instance, a nail salon, and they're having more people congregate in their parking lot, or challenges that they haven't had prior, when the police department gets there, you know, that's something that we can certainly take action on, and also just educate the businesses to get involved in the calls, to report what they're experiencing, so we can help on the enforcement side, but also, share the challenges with CityNet and other stakeholders to see about services being offered. Because like Sharon said, there might have been a time, in the past where the police department would be expected to come in and take enforcement action on private property, and perhaps suggest that people go elsewhere, but that's that's not occurring. That's not the right thing to do. So we'll be very strategic and surgical with what the issues are, and work with our partners on this. The data I've looked at, and of course, it's hard because we're talking about not even being able to identify a cause and effect, and then also utilizing any statistics that encapsulate COVID are challenging because it's had so many different impacts. But just the ones that I've looked over, there's nothing that appears especially troubling for that general area. I looked at different crime stats, about a half-mile radius using Rose Garden Inn is the focal point. And that's not to say there aren't challenges and there aren't things that we need to work on and address. It's just nothing shocking, nothing that raises concerns specific to the Rose Garden Inn. But the more conversation we have with the businesses, the better.
And just so everyone on the call knows, if there are any unresolved issues with any local businesses in that region, I'm more than willing, Lieutenant Christian, if you want to send me, sometimes people send me the business owner's information, and I set up my own call to invite people to these regional action plan meetings. So if there's any of the business owners where it's become more than a, once issue, you know what I mean, something that's recurring, we're more than willing as SBAC to jump in and work individually with that business too, and figure out what we can do.
And Jeff, we can reach out to Kristen. We might provide the opportunity to work with her to schedule kind of a special session with businesses in that region or interested in encampment response in general, just because we know that this time of day, tends to be challenging for people to be able to engage.
Yeah, so I can work with Barbara on that idea. We can even do an evening check-in meeting if it works better for business owners and just update them on options. So Barbara, we have something on our to-do list. Any other questions or comments for this call?
Best practices and action steps and clarity and sort of what's happening there. So I know that I've had some council member conversations. Turn off my video first. But I've had some talking to council members, and I just want to make sure that they know that we are, responsive to those things, and we are, we're committed to that, whatever it takes, whether it's detail stuff or conversations, without necessarily creating a whole system of infrastructure and meetings and whatnot. But we are paying attention to that when we drive in and out of that site. We are looking around very intently. So.
Well, and we know that there's been movement of folks for a variety of reasons. And so Jeff has been trying to get ahead of that with the regional action plans in terms of just educating that it's not folks that are at the Rose Garden Inn knowing that they're getting meals and they have a stable environment and they're so happy to be there, but that it's general movement of our unsheltered population because of enforcement in other areas, including encampments. So we know that that is, an unintended impact. And I also think, Jeff, we should really try to get ahead of what could be happening post September 30th with the eviction moratorium being lifted, as well as unemployment subsidies in California ending. We are going to see changes moving forward. And I think we need ongoing patience and engagement from residents and business owners, knowing that our neighbors are going to be struggling at that point, and we're going to again see some movement there as well.
That's really good. Go ahead, Emily.
Sorry. Just to reiterate, there is one small encampment of individuals who are showing up over by Jelson's, and we've been interacting with them and providing outreach services all the way from Mackenzie Park to the State Street, with Target, whatever that intersection is. And so we are doing extensive outreach in that area. Unfortunately, those clients are behavioral wellness level of need. One woman has been laying in the same position for, I think, maybe 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, and she hasn't moved. And so we do recognize and we are doing our best, but we are looking for behavioral wellness to help us with the one spot in front of Jelson's, and then also down near Target. Most of those individuals are housed. So just letting everyone on this call know.
Emily, that's very useful. And Jeff, maybe we can share that too with Councilmember Friedman, that most of these individuals are housed. There's outreach happening in these particular areas where we've received some reports.
Yeah, the reason for the regional action plan development was really so we would move away from the strategy of solving one community's issue and creating another community's issue. So we felt like if all these regions could communicate and work together and share data, then we would know who the individuals are, and each region would kind of take responsibility for the individuals that are kind of residential there. And we are definitely seeing movement there, but as we discussed on the last call 2 weeks ago, people still move, you know, even when you do your best to offer the services you can, people are still going to relocate for different reasons, whether that be whether that be related to they just don't need bugged anymore, they don't want those services at that time, they have a new community of trust, they themselves have faced, you know, people on the streets also face violence towards them. So sometimes people move because they're facing violence. And I think the other thing which Barbara alluded to, which I think is really important, we've had 2 years of a strange migration pattern of homelessness, which could come a month from now, 2 months from now, that whole migration could change again based on new homelessness. So having regional action plans, having neighborhood navigation centers, having these spots where we can get to know the population and kind of reorient ourselves during this time using HMIS or other databases and work together and communicate is really important. But let's not lose sight of the success of this one pilot project, which is right before us. And that's, you know, we really need to celebrate when we can, which is why I encourage people to use their little, you know, to use your reaction or whatever it is, because it's hard work. And all of us on this call know that. And we'll have regional action plan meetings this week where we'll be discussing some of the challenges. It won't be maybe so much celebration. So while we can, let's do that. Barbara and I have something to talk about as far as follow-up steps. Barbara, you want to say something else? And I don't know if Brad did too, because I think he unmuted.
Just gonna reemphasize CityNet's task and the city of Santa Barbara to do this in such a short period of time. And it's the largest number of individuals that have been served in a short period of time experiencing homelessness in this strategic way. We did meet with the county, was it last week? And they are presenting their proposal for countywide encampment response on August 24th at the County Board of Supervisors meeting. And that is a 3-year proposal to clear 90 encampments. So we have received some reports that just the act of clearing encampments in the city of Santa Barbara have moved people to other regions, and share that too at our last call. And so this level of county response, if approved, along with what's happening at the jurisdictional level, it's again going to create more movement, but also could really facilitate significant progress at the same time.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being on the call. We will upload this to YouTube and make this link available to the community as well. So hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and see many of you on a future call. Bye.
So much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.